Good morning. It's 11:47. We continue to follow breaking news from Springfield, and voters in Massachusetts once again consider whether they want casinos in the Commonwealth after the state's highest court decided that a casino referendum can be placed on the ballot in November. That decision from the state Supreme Judicial Court was handed down just 2 hours ago. Right now, the city of Springfield is reacting at a news conference. Let's listen in.
And this is an economic development project. This is about bringing thousands of good-paying jobs into the city of Springfield and western Massachusetts, and bringing millions of dollars of tax revenue to the city of Springfield and in turn to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which helps urban centers be able to move forward in improving every nook and cranny of our neighborhood area. So again, we're optimistic, we are prepared for this, and we will do what was done working with all involved in Springfield as we educated the public on the facts on this economic development project to move us forward, and we are optimistic moving toward victory in November. I'll turn it over now to Kevin Kennedy. Kevin?
One of the things I think that we're looking at, and I'm sure you're all wondering what happens next, we'll simply keep going forward with what we've been doing. We announced in detail the plan in the end of March, which shows significant economic activity, and we intend to keep going forward with all of our other projects. Of course, we hope that this project also goes forward, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and we think Springfield's really on the move.
Again, with Kevin alluded to on the three indications of urban centers continuing to come back, a major economic development project, which is the MGM, but in turn, that's part of the $2.48 billion in economic development projects, a major transportation project in which Congressman Neil Ritchie's been very helpful with Union Station moving forward, and we continue to move forward on market rate housing in our downtown area. And we're very happy also with the UMass and other educational institutions such as Bay Path, Cambridge College, and we're also working very hard with the Chan Chung entity and other entities that want to come to Springfield, the rail car, maglev car maker, biggest in the world. So we're moving on a lot of different fronts here, but again, we're prepared to move forward in November. We are optimistic. We will engage the public, as we did with Springfield, on the facts of this $800 million economic development project, which, if you're ever going to continue to knock down poverty and public safety rates in urban America, two things. One, or numero uno, is education, and 1A is jobs. And this economic development project is all about jobs. In Springfield area, 2,300, 2,500 construction jobs. Once it is built, 3,000 good-paying jobs for white-collar and blue-collar individuals, a spin-off to western Massachusetts and obviously to the Commonwealth. And we struck an outstanding post-agreement deal that brings $25 million a year in annually to the city of Springfield that helps my team, Team Springfield, improve every nook and cranny in the neighborhood areas, in our downtown areas.
Mr. Mayor, how do you convince the people in eastern Massachusetts how important this project is for Springfield?
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of partners across the Commonwealth, the state, and we're going to partner together and base it on the facts. Base it on the facts, similar to what we did in Springfield. And I think you're going to see a collaboration not only of the proponents of this and the gaming, entertainment divisions, but you're also going to see proponents of residents and citizens and businesses. And you're going to see, I believe, labor will get very, very involved in this. People are hungry to work. They want to work. And again, education and jobs, putting money in people's pockets, pocketbooks, wallets, is key. And if you're able to do that, you're able to move your city or your town forward. So we're going to base it on the facts, plain and simple. Kevin, I don't know if you want to add in there.
Yeah, let's go back to why the legislature did this in the first place. They did it for revenues for the state. They did it to prevent revenues from going out of state, and they did it to create jobs for people in the Commonwealth. To use Springfield as the example, Springfield was going to be generating $130 million for the Commonwealth's coffers on an annual basis. That does not include any spin-off sales tax. It does not include any spin-off property tax or any of those other economic generators. So if you take that, if you were going to have 3 casinos statewide, obviously multiply it times 3. Also throw in the slot parlor. Let's also not ignore the fact that billions of dollars have been going out of Massachusetts into Connecticut and into Rhode Island. And again, let's go back to the basic premise and let's take a look at this from a financial point of view and not look at it in a totally emotional point of view. And the fact of the matter is people will decide. I mean, they'll take a discerning look at the information that's put in front of them, and we'll see what happens. Those of us that have been in this kind of public life for a long time understand that once people decide, that's the way it is, and we'll go from there.
Financially, is the city protected in the budget this year or in the future if this law is eventually overturned?
We are protected in the budget this year. We've always made some tough decisions. I've had 7 or 8 budgets, and we always look to be efficient, effective, but compassionate. And we'll look to continue to generate revenue and also try to cut our expenses. But again, this is a huge shot in the arm, not only to the city of Springfield, but for Western Massachusetts. Again, a jobs generator. We ran this project, and that's why we won overwhelmingly in the city of Springfield. We ran this project as an economic development project, like any other economic development project that would come into the city of Springfield. That's how we based it moving forward here. But when you look upon it, we are fine for this year. Obviously, urban setting budgets are always challenging, and that's why we're trying to move to stand on our own 2 feet. We only receive very, very limited local aid. When I took over, I became mayor in 2008. We were obtaining, prior to me, $45 million in unrestricted governmental local aid. That's been knocked down to about $29 million. I think it's been bumped up to almost $33 million now. So that's not a lot of local aid coming in. I can only generate so much tax base from our levy as we move forward. But there's good things going on in the city of Springfield. Again, we're very optimistic about this. We're prepared. We're prepared if the decision went this way. And we're going to move forward along the lines of what we did in Springfield. We'll have plenty of partners throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Kevin brings up a very good point. From this area here, going down south, Connecticut Way, at least $1 billion of Massachusetts dollars going down south. That's $1 billion that could be pumped back into whether the city of Springfield, Western Massachusetts, and the other areas here to help provide more for policing, DPW, parks, fire, libraries. On our host agreement, we addressed all these things, and plus putting people to work. And everywhere I go, people say to me, Mayor, we voted on this. When's it going to happen? We're hungry. We want to work. We want to go to work. And what's wrong with that? So we're optimistic, we're prepared, and we'll move forward.
Mayor, you say you're prepared.
Kevin, go.
Why should the Pioneer Valley continue to be deprived of entertainment options that go to Mohegan Sun and are prohibited to coming here? Why? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the value of what you can get here is as good or better than what you get in Connecticut. So again, you've got to look at the facts that are going on here. I should also say that we had a conversation with MGM earlier this morning, and I would also say that they have lived up to their obligations with us, and they continue to say that they will continue to live up to those obligations.
Every mayor I spoke to across the United States of America that had the world-renowned MGM entertainment complexes there told me without reservation they have always lived up to their commitment. They've been great corporate citizens, and they told me as far as their entertainment, can't let the flag go down. As far as their entertainment, their visitors and convention bureau goes through the roof. And again, we had a very structured deal here that world-class entertainment was going to be housed in the Mass Mutual Center, which is a $75 million investment by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the historic and majestic Symphony Hall, and the intimate settings of City Stage. So we're going to base this on the facts. And as Kevin said, why cannot we try to stand on our own 2 feet here? And that's exactly what we're looking to do. And we're very confident that we get the message out to the voters and residents of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, basing it on the facts, basing it on this is an economic development project, thousands of good paying jobs, money coming into the coffers of the city of Springfield, Western Mass, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that allows you to do other things which we have addressed in our host community agreement. We utilize this as part of our $2.48 billion in economic development, both the betterment of the whole city. and negotiated surrounding agreements with all the affected surrounding communities. So we're ready to move forward.
Mayor, after you've been in this process for 2.5 years to try to bring a casino to Springfield to you and Kevin and worked very hard.
Yeah, they've done. I've had a great team.
How frustrating is it, or is it frustrating to have this obstacle now put in the way, where at least you've got to wait a few more months before it's finally resolved?
Listen, as Kevin indicated, I've been in the government or the election business for a long time. Nothing surprises you or us anymore. You always prepare with Plan A and Plan B, and again, we're prepared for it, and we're very optimistic, and we're looking forward to passage in November. But again, this would delay another year of construction occurring here in the city of Springfield, and all the spin-off effects. Speaking of that, with vendors, the deal that we struck, $50 million per year to start, to begin with, minimum, to local and area vendors of Western Massachusetts. That is a shot in the arm to all the businesses, whether it's a mom and pops, small, mid-size, or large, that when people look, they need linens, they need this, they need that, and the spin-off effects. Many businesses have already spoken to me that they're working with MGM, but in turn they have to expand their local operation, which means more area and more jobs that they need internally. So, but you know what? You can't dwell on victories too long, because there's always another fire to put out. So we're prepared and we're optimistic and moving forward.
Anybody that thought an $800 million project was going to be easy was sadly mistaken.
You mentioned the obligations at MGM. What are those obligations that they have while they're waiting for the outcome of the referendum?
Well, in the host community agreement, they talk about payments under the 121A tax agreement, which they have paid us last week. They also talk about the transaction that will happen during the month of July for the head house, the old National Guard Armory, and also Zanetti School. They also talk about their commitments to the pavilion at Franconia Golf Course, and it kind of goes on and on and on. You'd have to look at the host community agreement to see in there, and everything is detailed there, and they've been good about that. We've had good discussions with them.
So what did they pay you? How much was
$1 million came to us last week.
Will that continue as long as this is sort of pending? I mean, are they obligated to continue?
They have honored everything they've had to honor up to this point in time, and now we have a few months to go into the November election, and again, we're optimistic and we're prepared, and MGM has been a very good corporate citizen. Again, places that I've spoke to across the country have indicated that, and when I spoke very frankly with them, and we know that they will continue to do the same thing as we move forward. Any business person, he or she, company, or mega projects that's $800 million, always deserves to make a dollar, and they always deserve to be able to protect their investment, as the city of Springfield is protecting, our investment moving forward. But to think of, as Kevin indicated, and I want to thank my internal team, Kevin Kennedy, City Solicitor Ed Pakula, all the internal divisions, and also Attorney Sid Freilich from Shefsky and Freilich. We outstanding everywhere we go, eastern part of the state, Commonwealth, or in the nation. People commenting how this deal was struck and actually mirroring what we've done on it. So, like Kevin says, I mean, this is an $800 million project, the largest in the city of Springfield's history. And, we're moving on all these good fronts to tackle being an urban center in America, and we're making headway. So, again, we're optimistic, we're prepared. You have to have Plan A, Plan B, and biggest thing is about educating, as we did in Springfield, and we won by a very strong overwhelming vote, 60%, to make sure that the public, the residents, business community, the voters, are educated based on facts, not innuendos, of the positiveness of this project.
You mentioned being prepared, though. Were you surprised, though, by the decision?
Nothing ever surprised me. Nothing ever surprised me on it. So we felt there was a strong argument put forth by our team, basing it on the facts and basing it on economic development and jobs. Nothing ever surprises us, so we're ready to move forward, and we're prepared.
Speaking of being prepared, you said you wanted to engage the public. What does that entail? Is there a game plan in place right now until the November?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I think you'll see a very diverse collaboration of. You got to remember, MGM here in Springfield not only ran a good campaign, upper echelon, they ran a very grassroots campaign, and I think that's important. So I think you'll probably see a lot of that across the Commonwealth. But there'll be details coming out on that with all the entities that are involved at the appropriate time.
So at this point, does MGM own the former Armory building and Zanetti School?
By July 31st, they will. That's some of the obligations that they're honoring with us.
So is that the closing then?
Yes.
Brad, do you have anything?
No, I think that the mayor stressed we've negotiated a very strong host community agreement, and I think that as we educate beyond the city of Springfield, to see there's benefits not only for the city but for the surrounding communities, for the region, for all of Western Mass, and for the Commonwealth as a whole. And when that education process is done, I think that the voters will support the expanded gaming legislation.
You know, the big thing to remember is we were taking advantage of 15 acres in our downtown to generate a huge amount of economic activity. So the idea that that's going to affect the whole rest of the city economic development is just not correct. Again, we're looking at turning 15 acres, currently paying $635,000 in tax money, to turning that into 17.6 million plus 25 plus another 8 million in payments, and the list goes on and on. You've all heard me say that before. So
Surely it must be a little frustrating to have a referendum and the city votes on it. Now to have the power to either decide yay or nay rest with people outside of the city.
Well, again, it's politics. Let me take that back. The justices did their due diligence, and they ruled on what they felt interpretation of the letter of the law on that. The Springfield people have spoken, and we voted very strongly and overwhelmingly for it. I'm not a big believer in running government by voter referendum. Once in a while it comes up. I think this does open the door to other historic landmark decisions that have been rendered by the legislature or by the courts that if somebody feels they don't like it, they want a do-over. So that opens the door to that. But we're concentrating on this issue right now.
the right to vote in a democracy is sacred. So we recognize that. The mayor and I talked about this a long, long time ago, and we were going to get through every hurdle that came our way and see where it fell.
This education effort, how would you expect it to be funded, and by who, and would the city also be involved in that?
I think you're going to, as far as the funding, they'll be announcing the attack very shortly, but I think you'll see a lot of money, which will be good for all you media outlets here, because you're all going to make money now from the proponents of this issue, and obviously the city, myself, will be playing a part, a role, and I would assume that other elected officials who see this as economic development for the Commonwealth will be playing a role in this, but I think that'll be rolled out in the near future.
Right. The city, I'm sure Solicitor Pakula will tell you, won't be putting up money into the campaign. I mean, we couldn't do that,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't do that. I think our obligation will be to put the facts on the table and let people decide.
That's the commercial media.
What's that?
That's commercial media.
Well, I
That's
don't-
making the money.
Well, maybe they'll do something with WFCR too. You never know on that show. Maybe they'll sponsor your jazz program. How's that? Okay, but you know, we're very optimistic in November. But again, this delays shovels and bricks and mortar going in the ground a construction season as we move forward. But as Kevin indicated and Ed, we have followed everything to the letter of the law. We've been able to get over every hurdle. This is another hurdle, and we try to attack these things being prepared and being optimistic, and that's what we're going to do, and educate the public on the facts and the benefits, let's say in Springfield's case, of the $800 million economic development project, and in turn the spin-off with the projects going on in the Commonwealth, hundreds of millions of dollars going into the Commonwealth's coffers, which funds a myriad of programs and initiatives across the state.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the city of Springfield reacting to the news that the casino referendum will be on the ballot in November. Mayor Domenic Sarno at one point keeping the stars and stripes upright and also keeping casino hopes in the city of Springfield upright. The mayor said that we're optimistic, we were prepared for this decision, and now he wants the debate to be about casinos and be based on the facts. He said people are hungry to work, and this is all about jobs. We'll continue to follow this story, not only on the air, but also online at wwlp.com. In fact, we'll take a quick break and then start up with 22 News at noon.